After 188 matches played, 613 goals, the longest and most grueling Champions League campaign ever, we have our two finalists in the 70th Champions League final in history between PSG, who are looking to complete their treble and conquer Europe for the first time in the club's history, where Inter are trying to capture the UCL title for the fourth time in their history and their first in 15 years. And are we going to get even more history in the Allianz Arena? In the past couple of Champions League finals in Munich, we have seen in 1979 a first-time winner in Nottingham Forest, in 1993 a first-time winner in Marseille, 1997, Dortmund won it for the first time ever, and the latest example, Chelsea won their first ever UCL in Munich. So will it be the fifth time and seeing PSG lift their first ever Champions League? This is the second ever time a Ligue 1 and Serie A team go toe-to-toe in a UCL final. The only other time, Marseille won the UCL in 1993 in Munich. Ligue 1 teams don't have a great history in Europe. There has only been one winner in 12 UCL and Europa League finals. So we're in store for a great final. Two teams who desperately need this UCL for different factors. Two managers who have gone through a lot of criticism recently in their careers. Luis Enrique with Spain, with the diabolical, the dinosaur football. Inzaghi, where he's very close on winning multiple league titles, almost winning the Champions League against Manchester City. And for some of the players, it could be the first time ever or the last time ever they have the opportunity to win the UCL. Welcome to the final preview and prediction of the Champions League for this season. Want to thank all for your support during this entire season throughout the Champions League. It's been amazing. We can have criticism of the league phase to the playoffs to the knockout stage, but you guys have continued to support the Champions League content here on the channel. So I want to thank you all for your kind support, and of course, we're going to be doing this next season and the season after and the season after, because the UCL is the pinnacle of football. So let's begin, people. Let's talk about first what this Champions League victory would mean for either team before going into team news, tactics, and then my final prediction. For PSG, look, it's been an incredible season. They have won Ligue 1, they won the Coupe de France over the weekend. They're now aiming to become the first ever Ligue 1 side to win a treble. A treble. The likes of Manchester City, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Manchester United, Ajax, all of these sides have won a treble. Now can PSG join that elusive club? The Champions League this season has been a tale of two stories. The first story is, wow, they might not even qualify to the playoff. Outside the top 24, bottling it against PSV to Atletico, narrowly beating Girona in the first game. It's been a weird season for PSG, especially in the first half of the season. They were still playing good football, not a clinical side whatsoever. Away from home against Arsenal to Bayern Munich, really dominated in those games. But 2025 has been PSG's year. They have dominated every single opponent, to Manchester City, to Stade Brestois, Aston Villa the first leg, Liverpool over the first leg as well. PSG have been such a mesmerizing team. People can be critical of how the ownership has gone about their business in the past decade, spending ludicrous money after ludicrous money. They're spending the equivalent of a GDP of Palau, Fiji, Vanuatu, East Timor, all in one. Like, PSG have spent so much money to try and win the UCL. But this team, people seem to actually like it. Neutrals enjoy the football that PSG are playing because they're playing with wonderful forwards with Dembele, Kvara, Desiree Doué to Barcola, to the midfield where it's a perfect balance of grittiness and technical quality, two fullbacks that are unbelievable defensively and going forward, and a stud center back in Pacho mixed in with the experience of Marquinhos, and then Donnarumma. This is a redemption season for him. PSG have kind of been a neutral's favorite, I would say, throughout this season with the football they have played. But this Champions League victory would complete everything for PSG. What the Qatari owners have always wanted. They have tried so much. It wasn't about winning Ligue 1, Coupe de France, or whatever the League Cup equivalent was back in the day in France. It's all been about winning the Champions League. So for them to achieve this, it would be everything. And then these players would get so much praise that they fully deserve, because everybody says, oh, Farmers League. Well, you know what that Farmer team did? They harvested the entire Premier League. They knocked out Liverpool, beat Man City, beat Aston Villa, beat Arsenal. And I think for some of these players like Dembele, a redemption arc he's had, to Kvara, everybody said, oh, this guy's a one-season wonder. João Neves, Vitinha. I mean, PSG got so many good ballers. Is this their last opportunity to win the Champions League? Absolutely not. They are a young team, and I can guarantee you next season they might be back here once again, because they are a young team. They're playing with so much confidence. And I think that's the thing for PSG heading into this final. The confidence they got right now, all-time high. So will PSG do it? Will they become the second ever Ligue onside to win the Champions League and capture their first ever UCL title? Well, for Inter, it's been a strange season also for Inter. They've been looking great in parts, especially in the league phase of the Champions League, only conceding one goal, which was like in the 90th minute against Bayer Leverkusen. One goal conceded in 8 games against top-tier sides in Europe. Fantastic work by Inzaghi. Second half of the season, they go through the motion once again. They're doing well in the Scudetto title race. They're still in the Coppa Italia. Champions League, they knocked out Feyenoord. But then it kind of switched all of a sudden when it got to the quarterfinal of the Champions League. Then Inter said, oh, we're just going to outscore opponents. We'll outscore Bayern Munich. And then the most epic semi-final we will ever witness, showing the grittiness and the desire to win the Champions League. That's what these players want. I don't think it's about the Scudetto, Coppa Italia, which they've been knocked out of. And if Inter lose this final and they don't collect any trophies, yeah, it will be somewhat of a disappointing season, but that will also be a realization to the board. We need to back this guy. We need to get more signings. We need to have more depth if we want to compete in all fronts. You can't go to a war and have a knife and a BB gun. No, you need to bring the ARs and everything out there. They really need this Champions League. And I think Inzaghi really needs this Champions League. The players are determined to get it after losing the Champions League final a couple of years ago to Manchester City. And I've always been in favor of Inter winning the UCL this season. But I'm seeing this team, I don't know if it's just physically, mentally, they were not engaged in the Scudetto race or the Coppa Italia, but they looked very much fatigued, mentally and physically. I'm thinking to myself that for this Champions League final, they've rested all the players. Pavard will be fit, Lautaro will be fit, everybody's fit. There's no injury concerns whatsoever. Yes, we can talk about will Lautaro or Pavard be 100%. It doesn't matter. When you're playing in the Champions League final, you're taking all the needles possible to play in it. Everything for Inter, the last couple of seasons, it's built upon this moment. When they played against Manchester City, it was a beautiful story that Inter made it to the final, but most people predicted Manchester City to win it. But Inter gave a hell of a game, and if it wasn't for Lukaku missing, Di Marco and all the situations, maybe Inter could have won that final. This is the last opportunity for players like Acerbi, Mkhitaryan. I'm looking at those sort of players where they're aging. This might be their last opportunity to win a UCL. And if Inter win this UCL, becoming the first Serie A team in 15 years to win the Champions League, and Serie A sides recently don't have a great record in European finals. Yes, Atalanta won the Europa League last year, but look at Fiorentina, to Juventus losing Champions League finals. So it's fascinating. One team is young, up and coming, and ready to take their stage on the European pedestal, while the other team is an aging team, but still got one last fight in them. And when you think stylistically, I think we all know how this is going to go down. PSG are going to control possession, dictate the play, and Vitinha is going to get on the ball as many times as possible, getting in one-on-one situations for Kvara or a Desiree Doué or Barcola on the other side, and try and beat a Pavard to a Di Marco to Dumfries. The key thing for Inter is that Pavard is healthy. Pavard is just more of a mature defender. Bišćak has the ability, but he's very rash at times. I think Pavard being back is crucial. The one player for Inter that needs to step up is Di Marco. Di Marco was not good, I thought, against Barcelona and against Bayern Munich. Yes, he got the assist to Fratesi, but Di Marco defensively has been a liability. When you go up against PSG and the sort of forwards they have, you have to do better if you're Di Marco. Midfield-wise, I think it can be a very interesting battle because Inter are a good, solid midfield combination. Mkhitaryan's IQ, yes, he doesn't have the physicality, but his IQ could be a difference maker. Barella's got to have an all-time performance. And that link-up play between Lautaro and Thuram, it's got to work. The one thing that PSG have really struggled with this season, set pieces. Do you know who's the best set-piece team in the world right now? That's Inter. Every time they get a corner, it looks like they're going to score. But PSG, man, they got so much quality. Then you have to worry about Nuno Mendes and Hakimi going forward to Dembele with the false 9 role. That could cause a lot of issues to Acerbi. Acerbi does well against like a Haaland. Just a stationary striker who's not going to drop deep to receive the ball. So I'm sure Inzaghi, he's been tactically prepared for this game for so long. Same for Luis Enrique. You saw him on like some crane looking at the field. He knows that Inter are going to be the most difficult team he's going to go up against this season. And we know, even if Inter go 1-0 down, if they go 2-0 down, if PSG go 1-0 down or 2-0 down, Both of these teams got the mentality to fight back. Are we going to get a high-scoring game? Are we going to get a usual game that it's been for the last couple of years in the UCL, a 1-0, a 2-0? I kind of feel like there's going to be goals in this game because PSG defensively are not the greatest. They can score goals, while Inter recently, not the greatest defensively, but they can also score because Thuram has been clinical. Lautaro, he's going to have to clutch up one more time. So I'm expecting fireworks. I think we're all expecting a great game. Let's just hope the footballing gods can serve us something good after the trash we saw in the Europa League final. Prediction-wise, well, I've been saying all season, Inter are going to win the UCL. But PSG have been so good recently. I just look at the football they play and it's like mesmerizing. I'm like, PSG, you have done yourselves well with the recruitment. Luis Campos looking great. Luis Enrique with the redemption arc. Kivara was a game-changing signing over the transfer window. But there's something about this Inter side. I know people want to be negative about them in the Scudetto title race to the Coppa Italia. I think this is Inter's time. I think PSG's time will come either next season or the season after. They're going to be able to keep their players. They're going to be able to strengthen the team more. I think this is just Inter's time. I'm going to go Inter to win the Champions League for the first time in 15 years. Scoreline will be 2-1. And of course, we'll be having a live reaction or a pre-recorded video discussing about the final and all the implications about it. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you think will lift the UCL title this season? Will it be PSG or will it be Inter? Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and remember to join the Discord. The Discord on Saturday night is going to be fire. But have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Till next time, adios.